Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since I posted a video, and I know that I've been meaning to get this video out as well. But I've been just having a lot going on. I've just recently purchased a house, so we're in the process of moving and packing and everything. I did get one out like a week or two ago, but I figured since I've been wanting to get this one out, I would get this out. So this video is basically about the types of witches. I mean, a lot of people have their expectations or what they think that we are, who we worship, what we do, and etc. So today I'm just going to share some of them. There are a lot of them. So here are some that I have some knowledge on, not a lot, but they are different kinds of which most people do know of: paganism, Wicca, witches, witchcraft, all that, fairy. So here are some other ones. We have air witches, which are witches who basically just work with the air elements or anything that is based on air elements. They try to use that within their craft or just their daily routine. We have ancestral witches, which are witches who focus their craft mainly on their ancestry or what they have accomplished over years and years. There are animal and creature witches, who are witches basically who work with basically animals, their spirits, their physical form as well. They either will use their blood or whatever in their witchcraft, which is also another type of witch as well we will get into. So we have astro and space witches who will work on astral projection, astral travel, astrology, and any scientific based magic. There's blood witches, which I just mentioned before. Now these witches will basically use anything that they would use for their so basically anything that would work with if they're working on an animal spirit or trying to focus on an animal or type of basic spell that needs a type of blood from it. It could be an animal, a person, just anything, just not a whole lot. It's just a simple thing, but that's what basically blood magic is. Now, just to also say, like, I'll stop for a second with some of this. These are just some of the stuff I know. There are different things, so if you search them, you will find more information and more into detail about the type of craft that you are looking into. There is the bone witches, who basically work with bone in their magic. They can be considered a form of animal and ancestral magic. May also incorporate death magic and or necromancy practice. There are ceremonial witches, who basically just use basic ceremonies or stuff that was passed down to them. There are closet witches. Now these witches are basically witches that are not open with who they are fully yet, or but they could be comfortable with who they are. I'll rephrase that. But they're not comfortable with sharing with other people at the time because they're worried about what they would think. Would they reject them? Would they support them? Would they hate them or not want to have anything to do with them? It's just a lot goes through their mind, but they also want to learn more about it. They want to see where it comes and what path it takes them on before they can even determine how comfortable they were. Like, I, for a while, was to myself about it. I did not tell anybody who I was and everything and what I was doing. It took me a while to actually be comfortable with who I am. And that's when I firstly opened up to my husband and then my sister. Now, they both were supportive of me and they understood, and it took me a while to actually let all my other family members know, but they are very considerate of who I am and what I do, and that I'm very grateful to have that support system with me. We have cottage witches, which are witches that just basically surround their home with magic, or they're similar to kitchen witches. They use a lot of herbs that they make to help them with their spells, or their families. They were passed down to them, so they had that as well. There is cosmic witches, who witches are considered as an umbrella term for witches who use cosmic or astrology bodies in their craft. They practice things as astrology and or astronomy. They use energies and basically any type of spells or rituals or type of energy from the sun, moon, stars, anything based on their planetaries, based with the universe. They use that basically. There's crystal witches who use all their practice and knowledge they develop with crystals. Now these will basically have all information you need to know for crystals, or they may just be more into tune with some type of crystal and feel to know more about one crystal at a time before they develop more to others. They are death witches, who are witches who practice death magic. They typically work with and honor the dead. Then we have demonic witches. Now these witches work heavily with demons. It's different from exorcisms, but they typically summon a demon to get their bidding done. They'll ask them to do something, and they will basically do it for them. There's desert witches. They may not live by the desert or near a desert, but they use a lot of desert sand. Anything around the desert, they would use that. We have divination, which is witches who emphasize a divination practice such as tarot, or Ouija board, ruins, and any other form of divination. There are dream witches, witches who work with their dreams. They may practice along the lines of dreaming techniques. They may cast magic, work with deities or any other relatives, among the numerous other things that their dreams are basically for. So basically, the moon spiritually, anything that could help raise the spell or type of dream magic they're doing to a higher extent, they will do that. There is earth witches who work with elements of the earth. There are exorcist witches who it's kind of considered a branch off the spirit witch path, but they work on exorcism. Now, as I mentioned before, there are fairy witches or fae witches. There are many type of ways to say this or how they go about themselves, but they work with fairies. They emphasize the lore and their relatives to the natural world. They work with the fairy. The same way other paths will work with entities or elements or their deities. They sometimes will be more of the fairy that they work with. So if there is an earth fairy, a flower fairy, they are more into tune that way. They'll dress the way of their fairy. They will worship that fairy. Their altar is basically made for that fairy. Next, we have the fire witch, which are witches who work with the element of fire and work with candle magic, bonfires, rituals, or scaring among. But most their magic is based on anything fire element wise. We have floral witches who emphasize the use of flowers in their practice. They'll use them for herb branches for herbs and stuff like that. They're basically branched off of herbalism and a green witch's path. I had to drink some tea, but there are so many other ones. You can just search them if you want to, but just basically telling other people that what they may assume of us is not exactly what we are. There are some witches who are very religious witches. Now these witches will work on their religion wise, but interpret it into their craft. So you will have Christianity, Judaism, any type of religion, they'll work with that. Now this is sometimes, to some of us, is basically our religion. Our holidays we celebrate, some of them are basically the same, just named differently. Like we just had, or we are going through our Astara holiday, and that holiday is basically like Easter. We work with the bunny, we do Easter eggs and any celebrate it that way. We eat differently. We do things a lot differently, but it's our spring equinox, and that's basically some holidays we do. Like, it's a lot similar to what a lot of the people may do, but to us it's differently. A lot of witches have different type of holidays. Some are the same, and a lot of them celebrate them differently. I may not mention a lot of them, but there are a lot of witches. You can search them. There are a lot of them. There is even one called, that is a coven witch, with basically a lot of people who work together, and they use the same rituals, same spells, and it's basically stuff that have been passed down from ancestor to down and down. There are so many. There's probably around, so far, if what I have down that may have not mentioned, there are about 67 or more types of witches out there. Now, that's just something I figured I'd share. Sorry for a bit of the mistakes. I may have paused a few times here and there because of my children, but that is also another topic I will talk about too, because I've heard a lot of people figure out, like, how do you juggle being a parent and do your witch and interpret it into your daily life. That will be another video I will do. If there are other requests you'd like to know or like me to talk about, or any questions you have, just comment below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and sorry so much for anything that was misinterpreted or basically confusing in a way, but I hope you enjoyed. Have a great evening.